El-Sayed aide likens GOP opponent's campaign to KKK cross-burning over video with Ford pickup. This one was sent to me by Alex DeWitt, which I believe is Progress Only. And the person in this Fox article is actually someone that they know. It's one of their friends. So their friend is being attacked by Fox. Yay!
Okay, then.
So,
I mean, I guess
campaign.
I guess this is like when Naomi got attacked by Matt Walsh, and I'm just like, but I know that person. Hold on.
Oh, fuck Matt Walsh.
Fuck Wet Mulch.
Wet Mulch.
Wet Mulch.
That's why Ben Shapiro can't see him.
Because he's wet, unlike Ben Shapiro's wife?
Yes, correct. A recent campaign video released by Republican U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers in Michigan left one of his opponent's staffers feeling triggered.
Uh-huh.
So I saw the post. It was just, it's not triggered. Like, when I, like, this is the thing that bothers me so much about the right. Like, there used to be a time in politics where both sides of the aisle were like, we want to make the country better. We want to make life better for our constituents. We just disagree about how to get there. But now it is devolved into the people on the right are like, their entire platform is let's trigger the libs. And then the people on the actual left are the ones that are like, hey, actually, let's just make people's lives better, like everybody's lives better, including the people who are just trying to trigger me. Meanwhile, the centrists are just trying to not offend their donors.
And they're also trying to fund campaigns against the people on the left because that
scares their donors.
Yep. Because their donors would rather have a Republican than somebody on the left.
Yeah, but it's like, that's how politics used to be. People on the left and right, they both cared about making life better for people. They just disagreed about how to do it. But now it's just like, oh, we triggered the libs. Oh.
I'm gonna be honest.
Like, okay.
I feel like the disagreed how to do it. I agree that kind of is what the lip service was. But I think there's always been that underlying bit. It's just now not underlying. It's the death of euphemism.
I disagree. I think it not so much like I'm sure there, like, the people on the right that were just opportunists trying to enrich themselves were more plentiful than those on the left. Not that they were completely absent from the left, but like, I don't think, like, I didn't really read into this before streaming, but I don't recall there being really any quotes or anything that I can remember that are people on the right just taking joy of the fact that they have upset people on the left. Like, not even in a veiled sort of way. It was just like, no, that's bad, so we're going to do this. It was not, they're angry, so we're going to do this.
I guess it's one of those things where, like,
wrong on that one.
It's one of those things where I think that's why I mentioned the death of the euphemism thing. It's a thing where they always, as a political apparatus, were doing this. Things to get under the skin of Democrats, things to get under the skin of people who were considered weaker. Like, that's been a thing for their platform since the Reagan years. However, to your point, the reason that I use the death of the euphemism thing, the point of that is to say that a platform didn't suddenly become racist. It always was. They just don't have to use the kind words anymore.
I'm not saying they weren't racist.
No.
I'm saying that they wanted to make the lives better for their constituents. They didn't consider black people their constituents, and making life better for white people was making it so they didn't have to tolerate black people.
I don't think they wanted to make life better for their constituents. If you look to the Southern strategy, the entire thing was trying to dupe an audience that would fall for them.
And many of them still have. Like, okay, so This eventually links to a tweet. I did pull one of the responses to the tweet for the tweet section, but a bunch that I didn't pull were a bunch of Republicans being like, "Huh, you said it's like the KKK, so that means he's a Democrat because the KKK was Democrat." Huh.
Yeah,
like, I thought it was common knowledge that everybody knew that the Republicans and the Democrats switched side in the 70s.
No, that's not common knowledge. That's not common knowledge at all. That's common knowledge. No, that's common knowledge if you're on...
I learned that at my conservative Christian high school.
We don't fucking learn that here.
Like, my conservative Christian high school taught me about that.
No, we did not.
I mean, they did it in the context of, like, this is why you see who you think are the bad guys are doing good things here. It's because they switched sides in the 70s. But they still did it.
No, so here, the Southern strategy is something that we either glaze over or simply don't talk about at all.
I never heard it called the Southern strategy. They tried to present it as something that just happened organically.
Right. But we have documents from the Nixon era literally calling it the Southern strategy.
I'm not saying that it's not called that. I'm saying that, like, yeah, I learned about it, but they didn't call it that. They just pretended that it was organic.
Yeah. No, I can't remember if in my elections class it was talked about at all. But down in the South, that's not something that really got talked about. It's fucked up country, man.
Yeah, you guys in history, man. Anyway, that's the pickup truck, and he's got the American flags on it. I think likening this to the KKK is a little much. Like, this is... I can see it in the sense that, like, if the modern aesthetic of driving your massive pickup truck around with the American flags waving everywhere, and, like, that's how you know who the assholes are. Like, if they were to go back in time, this is the truck that they would buy. So, I can see that. But, like... That's not how you would...
Cyrus was Florida man and elective class. No.
No, that was mandatory.
It was just Florida, man. But...
Oh, I watched a video today. It was on the Seventh-day Adventists, and I forget who it was, but one of the people in the movement that splintered after Miller had his great disappointment thing, one of them died, was buried in Florida, had this big, massive, ornate tomb. And the comment from the video essayist was that in the most Florida man thing to ever happen, his tomb was swept away in a hurricane in 1903 or whatever. So his tomb went out to sea and disappeared. I don't think it was the J-Dubs. Like, the video was specifically on the Seventh-day Adventists. I know the J-Dubs did come from the Millerite movement as well. Mm. But I want to say that it was one of the, like, precursors to the Branch Davidians and David Koresh and all them. You know what? It might have been the first Koresh that the David Koresh we all know about copied.
Yeah, see, this is an area where I actually don't know a whole lot about at all.
I will maybe send you that the link, because it's actually a really interesting video, and he also kind of plagiarized H-Bomber Guy's plagiarism video with it. And he did it very cleverly. But he also got H-Bomber Guy to read a quote for him in the video so that, like, you know that the copying was okay.
Fair. At least it's not like what happened with my my friend Wayne. He made a video on a Digimon game, and another YouTuber one-to-one his entire script, and then had a joke at the end going like, wait, this is like a Wayne is Boss video, isn't it? And, like... At no point was Wayne ever informed this was a thing.
Well, I think if I were to guess what happened in the production process is this guy, he was doing a deep dive on the Seventh-day Adventists, and as he was getting into it, he just kept on running into instances of plagiarism, and so he accidentally made a video about how the Seventh-day Adventists just kept plagiarizing shit.
Ah.
And so then he took that and ran with it. Can we also have the video? I need to find it. I don't remember. Oh, yeah. You know what? It's right there. That's the channel. It's Knowing Better.
Knowing Better? Oh, I know Knowing Better. I know that channel.
Which video was it? Yeah, this one. It's a good video. I recommend it. He also opens doing a little bit of, like, himself dressed in steampunk running away from a ferret, which I didn't get until later. That's probably a reference to H-Bomb having himself drawn as a ferret in his little... cartoon things.
There also was that video of H-Bomb running away from something in a forest. I don't remember what game he was reviewing for it.
No, that wasn't a game. That was Control-Alt-Delete.
That was Control-Alt-Delete?
I remember that because that's the one that ends with him crawling through the comic covered in slime while naked. It scarred me, Cyrus.
That is certainly a set of words.
Do you not remember that part? Did you block it from your memory?
So... I don't remember that part specifically, but so it's been a while since I've watched any H-Bomber Guy. And usually when I watch an H-Bomber Guy video, I go on a binge.
It's been a long time since I've watched that video, Cirrus. But I remember the fuck out of it. Anyway.
I forgot.
Okay, back to Mike Rogers. I don't necessarily think this evokes KKK of the 1960s or whatever, but it definitely evokes the aesthetic that the people today that would be part of the KKK have with their modern trucks, just with a classic truck. So I see what he's going for, but I do slightly disagree with his point. And, but one staffer for Abdul El-Sayed, the far-left socialist-adjacent Democrat.
Wait, far-left socialist-adjacent? Well, hold on. Far-left, but we have to say socialist-adjacent?
Uh-huh. Well, I don't remember whether it was El-Sayed or the other one. Who's the other one? Maybe it was El-Sayed, and I'm just thinking there's another one for no reason. Anyway, there's one of the people that's being attacked by being a socialist or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is he in an interview he was asked about being a socialist, and I was actually kind of happy about that interview because he's got the same position as I do on the thing. He was just like, yeah, no, I don't call myself a socialist because like I'm not tying myself to like some guy's writings or whatever. I just think healthcare for people is a good thing to have, and we should do this and we should do that, and like maybe those are socialist positions. I don't know, but I'm not using the label. So it was like me, where it's like, yeah, there's a bazillion different labels of these things. I don't understand the labels. Here's my positions. Whatever label that is whatever. I don't care.
No, and that is entirely
I was
fair.
happy. I was happy to see my position represented by a politician. But yeah, so once the far left socialist adjacent Democrat, so that's why I think he's calling him socialist adjacent, because he explicitly said, "I am not a socialist. I just believe in socialist things."
Socialist adjacent derogatory.
Yeah. He's a Democrat running against Rogers, and he did not find the bit of Americana to his liking. So what he said was, Mike Rogers' campaign has the aesthetics of a 1960s white flight suburb and a KKK cross-burning. So, like, I think that's a bit much. Like, that, I watched the video, I thought about bringing it to you. It's nothing but this with... it sounded like an AI song playing behind, but apparently it's an actual, like, real song. Mm-hmm. They say what it is in here somewhere. I don't remember. It was some like, America's so great, we love America. Like, just generic rock with America lyrics. So there's nothing to it. So yeah, I think his comment's a little bit much, but whatever. I don't disagree. Then we have the, they contacted El-Sayed's office for comment. And the communications director? Yeah, communications
the Chinese
director.
knockoff version of America, fuck yeah.
Basically, yeah. Communications director Roxy Richner explained to Fox News Digital that Pressler, that's the guy who made the tweet, Pressler's views are not representative of the campaign as a whole. And I like that they didn't quote her. They just said, they like paraphrased what she said. So, like, instead of saying, because I guarantee you, this is not what she said, but what they say she said is that his views are not representative of the campaign as a whole because his bio explicitly states that his posts are his own opinions.
Hey.
Like, that was probably a throwaway line toward the end. It was just like, yeah, no, we don't restrict our staff's freedom of speech. Like, that's probably what the gist of it was. But instead, we can't acknowledge that they believe in freedom. So it's actually just... he's not representative because he said it in his bio. That's what I think happened.
You have to find some excuse somewhere.
I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think happened. The Democratic candidate, that's El-Sayed, has been dogged for his particular brand of left-wing politics, even by some members of his own political party who believe he is too far left. See our previous conversation about how the people in the center are mostly worried about keeping their donors happy, not making lives for their constituents better.
As is almost always the case, they're going to call you too far left whether you are or you aren't. So just be too far left.
Be it. Yeah. The far-left candidate also argued against the Second Amendment. Good. In videos discovered among the 100 he hid from public view from his YouTube channel. In an unearthed essay, he drew a parallel between President Donald Trump and Osama bin Laden. Good. They're making it sound like they're digging up dirt on the guy, but it's like, no, these are good things.
Yeah, these are things I'm okay with.
Can you imagine how many videos I'd have to hide from public view if I were to try to run for office anywhere?
Yeah, I'm kind of... So there was a time where I had told my local Democratic Party that if they didn't have somebody for one of the seats, I was going to run for the seat. And, like, once I kind of thought it through a little bit, I'm like, maybe it's actually not a good idea for me specifically to do that.
Yeah, not a great idea. So if I were to run for, like, local office, I have no doubt that the people in my local town are not tech-savvy enough to find me. But if I were to try to do anything bigger than that, it absolutely would, like, my channel would come out, and I'm sure I've said some bullshit on this channel.
Yeah, very likely.
Fox News Digital previously reported that El-Sayed has received more than $100,000 in campaign cash from 41 people who work for the Council on American-Islamic Relations, CARE, a designated terrorist organization by the United Arab Emirates, and formally designated or labeled as such in Florida and Texas.
But if they're labeled that in Florida and Texas, why would I give a shit?
They were labeled that, so they're not officially designated that by any organizations there. It's just that Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis at one point have called them a terrorist organization.
Yeah, and I don't give two flying fucks what either of those people think.
Also, if the UAE calls you a terrorist, then that means you probably did something like... Actually, no, I can tell you exactly what they did, because I looked it up. What they did that got them labeled a terrorist organization by the UAE was say, hey, maybe you shouldn't have murdered Khashoggi.
That makes you a terrorist?
That makes you a terrorist. You remember Khashoggi?
No.
For those who don't remember, Khashoggi was a journalist who the UAE had murdered in one of its territories very brutally. There was dismemberment and stuff involved, and it was a big scandal. And the Council on American-Islamic Relations was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't have done that. And then the UAE was like, terrorist! To
quote Salazar from Resident Evil 4, terrorism, isn't that a popular word these days?
Sure. Now, I did, in my brief looking, I haven't done a deep dive on this organization. In my brief looking it up, it seems like they do have a bit of a spotty history, but, like, most of it seemed spotty in the sense where they were like, in 1994, they were like, we like the guy in Palestine representing Hamas rather than the other party that was against Hamas. Not that we like Hamas, we just like some of this guy's policies better than we like the other guy's policies. In 1994. Then in 2005, they condemned Hamas. If you remember, 2005 was the last time Palestine had an election, and Hamas won. And then they made it not democratic anymore. And this organization was immediately on the that's not good bandwagon. So yeah, they're not a squeaky clean organization, but it's better than AIPAC.
I mean, to be fair, being better than AIPAC is a low bar that anybody can clear by breathing differently.
You're not wrong.
Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.